Welcome, ladies, to Black Starr Empress Hour. Here we will discuss the varying issues pertaining to baths, ranging from relationships, goals, prepping, motivation, current events, lives, education, changing thought patterns, and paradigms. So sit back and relax with us here on Black Starr Empress Hour as we work towards unifying, educated, and uplifting baths and bands. Okay, so today's topic is going to be on the rising trend and popularity of plastic surgery among Black adult females. And, I mean, they could deny it all they want, but I see it with my own eyes, and I see it on TV. And even the best that I'm around, I constantly hear them speaking of doing procedures such as tummy tucks, sucking out a little fat here and there, lifting their breasts, and all types of nonsense. And it's really scary because, you hear these stories of baths getting these surgeries, sometimes on the black market because they can't afford, and they end up losing their lives.
Yeah, if you want, statistical numbers, since 2009, 985,000 baths have undergone cosmetic surgery. For those of you who don't know the term bath, it means black adult female. It's one that we use to differentiate black women from white women who don't come from the same paradigm or social background.
Definitely. Because anytime we use that word woman and man, that's just tying us back into relation with white people.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to separate ourselves.
Yes.
Yes, it does. So that's why we use that word.
There's been an increase of baths in the workplace due to the constraints in the business field, specifically women's baths, are often required, or they feel as if they're required to meet a certain standard of beauty, which usually leads them to getting procedures such as thinner slimming, liposuction, tummy tucks, breast lifts, or breast reductions. But there are a number of risks associated, some of which include unlicensed non-professionals using crazy glue and even cement, or injecting silicone directly into the bath's body. And this leads to a loss of limbs and a loss of lives. There have been recently at least 3 baths who've died, 2 who died and 1 who was permanently damaged. One, her name was April Brown, 47-year-old mother of 2 and a hairstylist from L.A. And she had her arms and legs amputated due to illegal butt injections back in June 2004. It all started from a client who offered to give her beauty treatment at a discounted price. That alone should have told her something, but I don't understand why she thought that you could inject silicone into your body when every case I've heard of a celebrity doing it, it's always been an implant. Never heard of the injections until we decided to do this show, and then I discovered that people have been getting injections as far back as, white people have been getting injections as far back as the 1950s. But still, it's ridiculous. Brown received 2 separate sessions of 4 injections of industrial-grade silicone, which the industrial grade is what's used as a caulking agent in the bathroom. It's what they use to keep the sealant in your bathtub, and they injected her buttocks with that, and she felt like that something was wrong, so she quit the sessions. but she didn't go to the doctor to make sure everything was okay. And then a few years later, she started to feel negative effects, labor pain, toothaches, and migraines. And then in 2010, a staph infection led her to the hospital, where she quickly degraded, and she was in a coma. And then the doctors saw the need to amputate her arms and legs, and so she didn't even know the doctors were going to do this. And then when she woke up, her arms and legs were gone.
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
Yeah. And she said that it just completely altered her life. She had to relearn to do everything, but she's been able to be surprisingly positive despite all of this. Her number one mantra now is, "We are as we are made to be," and that we should be thankful for the bodies that we have. But it's just a horrible realization to have to come to because of this. It all started with her having been ridiculed in high school because of her butt. And so she felt like she needed this treatment done to feel prettier. And she actually thought that when that client came into her hair salon that this was actually a godsend. She actually thought that this was a godsend, and it turned out to be the complete opposite. And then you have Kelly Mayhew of Maryland, who was 34 years old, and she died June 2nd, 2015, from illegal butt injections. I'm not sure of the grade of silicone that was used, but she died from what they call a systemic silicone emboli. Like somehow the silicone got into her bloodstream, and it caused a pulmonary embolism, where she essentially died of a heart attack. And then the suspect fled the scene and is now believed to be living in the UK. And so they haven't found the suspect. And so there's that. She was said to have been a Nicki Minaj fan, and it was this love she had for Nicki Minaj's butt in particular, that led her to want to have this treatment done. So there you see the effect of Hollywood and the whole body image going on there influencing, well, at least her life. And then you also have a British student, Claudia Aderotimi, 20. Her parents were from Nigeria, and she was an aspiring hip-hop artist, and she died from illegal butt injections February 2011. She believed that having a bigger butt would get her into the music industry. I guess the people in that industry didn't believe she had any other talent, and so she believed that she would get into the industry from her butt. She was once dropped from a video shoot for wearing butt pants, and I guess the whole ordeal humiliated her, that she was determined to have these butt injections. So she flew to the U.S., to Philadelphia, where the injections were performed in a hotel. Immediately after, she started experiencing chest pains, and then, just as in the case of Kelly Mayhew, she died from a systemic silicone emboli. A friend of hers had gone along with her, and she also received the same injections, but she didn't die. But the person who administered the procedure was he was actually a tranny, a transvestite, who had cosmetic surgery, and he said that he, because of his body image, that he just wanted to go around making women feel beautiful and all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. But that's not the case in what happened with this young woman. And when he performed the procedure, glue and cotton balls. I mean, my God. And what's even worse is the procedure was supposed to be part of her birthday celebrations. It was her birthday. And instead she ended up dead. Thankfully, I guess you could say, the man, his name was Padge Victoria Winslow. I don't know his real name, but his name as a transvestite woman was his name. He was found guilty in June 11, 2015 of third-degree murder and aggravated assault, and he's been given 10 to 20 years. So at least in her case, there's been some measure of justice, but still there are a large number of people who are going to unlicensed non-professionals to get this done, and in most cases it does not have good results at all. From 2005 to 2013, cosmetic surgeries increased in the black community by 56%. And the trend shows BAFs are receiving mixed signals about which standard of beauty they should subscribe to. You've got it's just retarded the way you see BAFs emulating what they see on TV. White supremacists on TV, where you have white women trying to look like BAFs. And some of them go overboard, and then they get these huge butts like that one J-Lo got back in 98 or whatever. And then these BAFs try to emulate these white women in turn. So it's just a ridiculous cycle of whites emulating BAFs, and BAFs emulating them, emulating us. And no BAF, and some of these butts you see, no BAF on earth has a butt that size that's completely out of proportion with the rest of her body. You don't see that. It's just retarded. It's just ridiculous. Right. You see also an increase in rhinoplasty and lip and hip augmentation. And this is something that's now becoming popular in parts of South America, where in Brazil, 63,000 butt augmentation procedures were performed in 2013, and that's nearly 5 times the number of procedures performed in the U.S. So it's even crazier down that way. I can hardly wrap my head around this, that people are willing to risk their lives over something so completely inconsequential. And in the case of that one BAF, now she has no arms or legs. And she can't get around without the help of an aide. And she has 2 kids that she has to take care of too.
Oh my God. And you know, it's the saddest part, because I was watching a video today, and it was about it was a video by Robert Parkins, and he's a known BAM on YouTube who does a lot of videos on quote unquote black issues, and he was speaking about little Kim and her drastic metamorphosis through her procedures. It just has gotten, from wow to what in the world, you know? I mean, and then, her response to that interview that she had done with, I believe it was Essence Magazine, I'm not sure, but she was saying how it was because the males that she were involved with, BAMs, I'm not sure, she said she never dated any white males before. She said only black. So the BAMs that she were involved with throughout her life, they always told her that she wasn't pretty enough. And it's like, Robert Parkins, he was saying that, BAFs need to take accountability, because at the end of the day, BAMs get ridiculed for having darker skin. They get ridiculed for their nose and their features and stuff like that. You can't fall into what people are saying.
Exactly.
And destroy yourself in the process. I mean, if they didn't like you, then they're not going to like you afterwards, and you shouldn't have to change yourself. There's nothing wrong with you.
Exactly. And in the photos that she had posted of herself online, she's sitting next to this one BAM, and he has this ridiculous grin on his face as if he's really pleased with the way she looks, and she looks terrible.
Yeah. And she's dancing around. She's out at parties. It's so pointy.
Her nose is crooked and it's too pointy, and it just looks ridiculous. She looked better before they even messed with her. That's the same thing.
She was perfect the way she was.
With Michael Jackson, every single procedure she has, she looks worse.
It got worse and worse and worse, and it's like you're gonna destroy yourself. I mean, you hate yourself. You have low self-esteem, and I don't know what you're trying to do, but it's not helping. And along with what she does to her face and her skin, she also got the breast, and she also done her backside. She also has done her butt, and she's a very small and petite bath, and she has all of that weight on her. That's gonna cause. I mean, she has to be in back pain.
She's like 5'1" or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She got all that backside on her.
Huge boobs. That's gonna cause her some serious problems with her back and her knees and her hips when she gets older.
Yes, and I've seen her do a performance. I think it was like last summer or a summer ago, before she got lighter, and I mean now she just looked like a total different person. Looking back at that video, and that video was even too long ago. And looking at her now, it's like, you know. But in that video, she was doing a performance, and it was in Brooklyn, and she had on a white jumpsuit-looking suit thing, and you know, her butt definitely did not look proportioned, didn't look right. And as you know, a lot of backs would say, well, you know, Ben say this and that, or society say this and that, but it's like you got to realize the situation that we are in with each other and where that stems from, and then dealing with society, dealing with white people, because that's what it's really about. But a lot of them don't want to say it. They will say society says this. Well, no, it's white people. You're listening to what they're saying, and what they're saying is not relevant at all. That's exactly what they want you to do. They want you to destroy yourself. And it's getting worse to the point where they even have a TV show called Atlanta Plastic, where it's
and
a
there's
show.
Another one too. There was another one where some BAM, he had some procedure done with Nene Leakes or something. I can't remember. That they had one done on this program. It's out of control. It's so insane. And what's crazy about it is that for years, for centuries actually, baths have been humiliated and dehumanized for having a big butt. And now white women are getting these surgeries done to have a big butt, and it's being seen as popular. So now baths want to have that same look, but
they want to have bigger
ridiculous.
butts, and I think a lot of it stems. I think the reason why, well, I can't say that white females are doing it more, because honestly, you know, when I'm out and about, I rarely see a white female. Well, it depends on the demographics. I mean, if you're living in an area where it's more affluent or whatever, of course they're going to have the money to get these procedures. I mean, I have
You're
seen
gonna see it if
some
you live
of
in
white
areas
females.
like LA and the wealthy sections
Yeah,
of LA.
I've seen some out
Especially
here, but
down
it's not crazy. But you know, I don't like when I hear baths say, "Oh, white females are trying to be us," because no, they're not. No, they're not. They might do certain things. They like get their lips done, or they, you know, they have this fetish. I guess white males have this fetish with big breasts, which is incestuous, in my opinion. You know, the big breasts, and you see someone getting the butt done, like Kim Kardashian and Khloe, and then what's her name? Kylie Jenner.
Oh yeah.
You know, you see them
Kylie
doing it.
Kylie Jenner doesn't even look anything like she used to look when she was a kid. Like
she looked like her father. She definitely has done her face. She looks like
she's
a
done her
totally
lips.
different person.
She's done something to her bone structure, and she's done something.
She did
to
her face. Yep, and she did.
But
when
I
did a
saw
lot.
pictures of her when she was like in her early teens, I was shocked. She doesn't look the least bit like she does now. And and in her case, I would say she's definitely trying to emulate black women.
Yes.
And also, what's her name? Ice-T's wife. She's had work done. That white girl.
Yeah. Well, you saying T.I.? I know T.I.
Yeah.
What's
no,
her
that
name?
white
Tiny.
girl.
She got her butt done.
Wife, and she's a an urban porno star or something like that.
Oh, Coco. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's something else.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And
I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of baths are doing the butt thing and the breast thing because a lot of them are watching TV, and you know, the stripping culture has really escalated over the years, where it has been glamorized, where a lot of younger baths are getting into it, and they invest in their looks. Like, I mean, they would get like tattoos on their butt.
Yeah.
Like just like, I don't know, like
or the ridiculous thing
their
was
whole
I didn't
body
even
with
know.
tattoos.
When you told me the other day that what artist was it that got her butt bleached?
Christina Milian. Yeah, they get their buttholes bleached.
I don't. Okay.
Because apparently there's something wrong with having the your private areas looking dark, so you have to even it out. And I know a lot of baths in the porn industry, they do this as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is what white females do, so they're just following. Because since when did we start doing stuff like that?
I know that for black females in that industry, because it's hard for black females to get in the porn industry, that's why they created the urban, what is it called, the urban porn or something. But now you've got
ebony porn, big booty porn.
Yeah, but now you've got white chicks going into that industry, and so they're pushing out the baths. And so to measure up, a lot of baths are getting these.
Well, they can't do that because ultimately you're not the same thing. It doesn't matter. There's this one white female who's a porn star named Kelly Levine or some shit like that, and she has this ridiculous fake buttocks. But it's like you can't take the place. I'm not trying to glorify and say, yeah, Ben's are the best in porn, because honestly, I would prefer if they were not into that industry. But you can't take the place because you're not the same. You're not the same thing. If people want to see you, they're gonna watch.
Because you've got a lot of white women in the urban.
That's if they're doing interracial.
And
but honestly,
it's coming from the BAMs. The BAMs are the ones that are supporting it.
Oh yeah, because they're the ones. It's the you most of the time when you see the interracials, it's a white female and a BAM. He doesn't even know that he's being exploited.
Mhm.
He's
just like
being
what happened to
sexually exploited.
Kid who's now in prison or something. He's on trial for pedophilia. A 17-year-old boy who was sexting that 16-year-old girl. Now he's in all kinds of hot water, and that's exactly what Lil Kim said. It was the BAMs that made her feel insecure about who she was.
They need to stop with that nonsense because it go both ways, and ultimately we need to recognize the source of the problem, because we like to point fingers at each other, and we don't like to acknowledge the fact that this has everything to do with white people. It's like we're afraid to say that.
Mm-hmm.
So we just fight with each other.
All the way back to slavery, when the white woman would seduce the black male slaves.
Of raping her.
Or sometimes raping him and then leaving his black slave wife back at home with all the kids. Same kind of thing.
Yeah, she's the one that's raping him.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still being raped. I mean, if you're in a relationship with a white individual, man, that just shows that you still haven't gotten the point.
In a relationship with a white individual, they clearly do not understand the power structure here in America and
globally even.
They especially in the case of a BAM in a relationship with a BAF, they do not understand the power structure. A white woman will always be socially above a BAM.
Yep. It doesn't matter what you do.
That's
you might
why
think
all throughout history, you see, all a white woman has to do is cry rape. And a horde of white people will descend upon the nearest black community and torch that place to the ground.
Yep. You mean a horde of white males? They're the ones coming out. Look at Emmett Till.
White males with guns. And then afterwards, you'll have their little white women come up, to kick the black man when he's down. That's how that works. And you see it all the time. And yet you have this ridiculous back and forth with BAFs and BAMs. And then BAMs saying they don't want anything to do with BAFs, and BAFs then trying to meet this image of beauty and putting their lives at risk because of it.
Yep. Which is ridiculous. And a lot of them are doing it, like I said, a lot of them are doing it because of the whole stripping trend that has taken over, where stripping has become glorified and it has been glamorized.
Well, they have
so you have a lot of BAFs who dedicate their whole body to it. They would get tattoos and piercings. They get the injections. They get the butt. Elaborate attire for their stripping career.
Well, they have those stripping workout things. Like, it's not just for like they have these workout sessions that teach women.
Pole dancing?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have that as well. And they're even inviting white females into it and Asian females.
I know.
I've seen some white females dancing. You would have swore they definitely had to be taught by Jamaican women or Jamaican
in
baths
the UK.
because they had like this twerk fest when you see like white females.
This bath in the UK, and this white female, she was twerking, and she didn't think that this bath in her class was doing it well, and there was this stupid thing, and it was all jealousy, and then I guess the bath took to the internet about it, and a horde of black women or baths got on the internet and said all this stuff, and then she supposedly affected her business and the white woman's business and blah blah blah.
Fuck her. Fuck her. You see how it is? That's why we need to get away from them. See, that's why the term women or woman is dangerous.
Was just retarded. I mean, for one thing, okay, the twerking thing, it does date back into our history. You see the twerking being performed by African tribal women far back as for forever.
I don't even know why they call it twerk. Well, that word twerking has come from the South, but I mean, they're dancing.
But really, what they're doing, it's called it's from the Ivory Coast. It's a type of dance from the Ivory Coast called the I can't remember the name, but the women there do it all the time, but they change it
even
to
in
twerk,
Jamaica,
so it doesn't sound quite so African.
Yeah, and even in Jamaica, well, the word twerking has originated from the South, which has come from baths. You know, we have our own languages depending on the demographics of where we are. And I know in Jamaica they have this thing where they call bruckins, which a lot of the slaves, they used to dance the best and the bam.
Mm-hmm.
Who were enslaved, they would dance, and that's where the dancehall dancing has come from. But now it's more provocative and sexual.
Yeah, before it wasn't, even in Africa, it was not a sexual thing. It wasn't regarded that way. But like everything else, when it comes to America, then it becomes.
Well, when it comes to white people, they exploit.
Or specifically, when it comes to white people, it becomes sexual and perverted.
They sexualize the human body.
They claimed that Miley Cyrus, idiot, the queen of twerking, and I was like, wait a minute.
They know that's a fucking lie. They just doing that just
women have been in the U.S. alone. Black women have been twerking for decades.
She can't even move. What was that? She wouldn't even get $1 at the club if she was stripping. That you can't dance. You can't move. She was bending over with Robin Thicke. It was hilarious.
It was ridiculous.
It was hilarious. I mean,
that though is where you see a lot of this whole butt fetish coming out of, though.
Well, it always has been that way, but a lot of white females, they like, a lot of white females ever since then have been taunting a bath's body. I remember I was watching TMZ, and they were showing like a clip of some booty contest in Trinidad, and the white girl, or the white female that was on the cast of TMZ was like, how do they fart out of that? Like, what kind of question would you say that? Like, who says that? Who says that?
And then you see it I've seen it in Africa too. You'll see these videos of African people, and they have these dance-offs, and there's got to be that one white chick who has to show off whatever it is that she thinks she has. And of course, out there they
wouldn't be there.
Yeah, a lot of the African people, they're too, especially in countries like Ghana, they're too polite, so they're not going to say anything. Get out of here, even though they should. But it's not that I don't think that there's a place for cosmetic surgery. It's definitely for people who have had some kind of facial deformity or something, or even in certain cases where maybe if you had a lot of kids and your stomach is all a mess now and you get a tummy tuck. But there's a there's a place and time for it. If you're getting it done to please somebody, or you're getting it done to meet a certain body image, a societal image, then you definitely should first get counseling and maybe have work on your self-esteem, because that could affect your whole life going in, and especially if you're so desperate to meet this image that you're going to go to extreme lengths to have this procedure done, regardless of whatever dangers, that's a problem.
But my thing is, a lot of baths don't take accountability for not taking care of themselves. Because,
No.
I mean, I see a lot of baths in Africa, in quote-unquote Africa, who have had several children, and their stomachs don't look anywhere near to a bath who has had 1 or 2 children or 3. So I know a lot of baths, when I talk to them about, when they complain about their stomachs and having stretch marks or loose skin, I talk to them about what do they do during their pregnancy. Well, first of all, you're eating too much of the wrong stuff. They like to say, I'm eating for 2, when really you should be eating as you normally would eat. And you should be eating things to nourish you and your baby. You should have been doing that before even having any children. Another thing is, we don't practice proper skin care, such as exfoliation or moisturization. We don't eat the proper things. A lot of us don't work out. And then, when you're pregnant, it's important to support your back and support your stomach so that all that weight isn't dragging your stomach down. I mean, look at the baths over in these tribes. They don't even wear bras, and their breasts are perky. And you hear a lot of baths over here. My mom, she deals with mother and babies in the medical field, and a lot of them will refuse to breastfeed their babies simply because they're saying, well, I don't want my breast to get saggy, when that's a damn myth. That's a myth in itself. And if you could, there's a wraps that baths over in quote-unquote Africa news to wrap around their stomach so that it's not dragging them down, or because the stomach does get heavy.
Here.
Yeah, they have that.
Why they don't. They have the it's this thing you use to hold your stomach, and so it's not
like a bando or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
And slather your stomach with some damn shea butter and wrap that shit up in the Saran wrap.
I don't know if they don't have money. What? but you definitely need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, making sure that you're nourishing your melanin, because it's through the nourishing of your melanin that your collagen will be high, so that you don't get these horrible, deep, dark stretch marks.
And I got stretch marks, but honestly, they don't even. I mean, I don't care about them, and they don't even look bad because I had to exfoliate and I slather on that shea butter and whatever concoction I got. So they're really light, and only got them behind my knees, and they have really lightened up over the years, and on my buttock, and then some on my thigh, like where my pelvis would be. Not on my hip,
I have them
too.
Yeah. I have them really bad too, but you can lighten them, I've heard, with hot oil treatments of castor oil.
Yeah.
For 10 minutes. So there are things that you can do if you do the research. There are natural treatments that you can do if you do the research.
And the craziest part is that a lot of BAMs don't even care about it. I mean, only the assholes are going to say something.
Yeah, I've heard that. I mean, there are some who do, but I've heard a lot of BAMs. I've seen BAMs, and they see a picture of a bath with stretch marks, and they're like, oh, man, I still hit that. I'm like, oh, okay.
Some of them even find it attractive. And honestly, I've seen baths out at the beach or, at the water park wearing their two-piece. And, nobody's making a big deal. So, honestly, you're the only person that's really worrying about, your stretch marks. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
I used to be really ashamed of mine because I had really bad ones.
Wait, say that again?
I used to... Huh?
I heard somebody talking.
It was daughter of...
That was me. I said stretch marks aren't normal in a real woman during childbirth. They get stretch marks. It's it's like your stripes on having a baby. You know, it's transformation. But
and
it's
some
like,
people get even through growth spurts, like with me.
That's what happened to me, because I'm a small person and I gain weight and I lose weight. But it only happens in certain areas, and it's not noticeable. I mean, I go outside, I wear my shorts, not crazy butt cheek shorts, but I dress appropriately, but according to the weather. And then I don't care if you want to look at my stretch marks on the back of my knees. Go ahead. And nobody has ever looked down and say, "Whoa, you have stretch marks on the." And if they do, I'm like, "Yeah, I have them." Yeah.
It's not like you have big cellulite things hanging or fat hanging out all over the place.
And even that, I mean, I don't know, but West Indian baths, they don't really care. Like, they'll go outside. I see a lot of them out here in New York in the summertime. They have thighs like cottage cheese, and they still be out there, and guys still talk to them.
It's that confidence.
It's whatever.
The confidence. It is, though.
Yeah, they don't care. Come on, man.
But if you are going to get plastic surgery, you need to know that there's going to be a lot of money that you're going to have to shell out. Do not try to look for any kind of discount, because that's where you're going to run into these quacks who are going to do things to you that life-altering, possibly life-ending things. Average annual cost of plastic surgery procedures ranges from $2,500 to $14,950.
Wow.
And that includes expenses for the procedure, surgeon fees, material costs, operating room costs, staff salaries, rent, cost of operating machinery, anesthesia-related costs, any included medications or post-surgical compression devices, as well as follow-up appointments. And when you're looking for a cosmetic surgeon, you want to choose a surgeon with an abundance of experience and documentation of previous surgeries. For plastic surgery procedures, choose a plastic surgery doctor rather than a doctor from another specialty that performs plastic surgery, because a doctor who is specifically performs plastic surgery will have more experience than a doctor who just occasionally does certain plastic surgical procedures. You also want to look for a surgeon that you're comfortable with and agrees with how you plan to perform the surgical procedure. And be sure that the surgeon you choose understands your goals you have in mind and agrees that they're realistic and attainable. So if you are like one of those nutcase women who want to be the biggest busty bath in the world, and that surgeon agrees with you, that guy's probably just looking for your money, because that's ridiculous. That physician should be referring you to the nearest counselor. Select a physician who uses high-quality products such as implants from a reputable manufacturer, and be wary of physicians offering pricing significantly lower than national or regional averages, or bargain gimmicky prices such as something called a Groupon or deal of the day offers. And be certain that the quoted price you receive includes all expenses, no hidden fees. And also do your research on financial companies that provide monthly payment for cosmetic procedures. Most of these companies will even offer 0% interest financing if the loan is paid within a certain period. So there's a lot involved if you're going to have this done. You can't just go in, I'm going to have this done and I want a discount, just some person. No. Because in the case of that one bath who died, she had the procedure done in the basement of some apartment.
Wow.
Which is retarded. Like, what made her think that was a good idea, just to go to some stranger's apartment? First of all, they could have been a serial killer or something.
What?
And then just to go to the basement of some apartment and get injected with something, and you don't even know what that something is. And it turns out that it killed her. And her mother was right there, and apparently, like, right after she was injected with the silicone, she started to make this weird gurgling noise, and then she died. So she died in front of her.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Mm.
I mean, it's really, really tragic. And what's even worse is there are these awful videos on YouTube of these white men who are mocking these women, doing this kind of caricature of the whole ordeal that these women, that these baths have gone through. And if these had been white women who were mutilated this way, or murdered or killed this way, then it'll be like, oh my God, the most tragic thing to so and so. But because they're baths, then they're mocking them.
I mean, it's just crazy out here. I mean, all this is just a result of baths being influenced by the wrong things. And honestly, I don't know. I just think it's a waste of money what they're spending it on. But, they're going to do what they want to do.
Especially if you live in the projects and you can't barely even afford to put food on your table, but you're worrying about what your body looks like. Really?
Yeah. Or your face or your hair. It's spending like $400 on
hair. You're feeding your kids, McDonald's, but you're trying to afford to get a cosmetic surgical procedure.
Yeah, you're trying to get a breast lift or implant, augmentation, or I've seen one before in Far Rockaway when I was in high school. I was at the bus stop, and she had on leggings, and you could obviously tell that her butt was done, and she was just prancing, standing there, sticking her backside out as if it was something, to be proud about, like a flamingo. And a band rolled up on her and started talking to her. And it's like, wow, that's what you guys do it for?
Yeah, it's sad, and it's just a further example of why we need to disconnect ourselves from this society. Cut off the TV. Okay, well, no, what was I saying? No, it's just a further example of why we need to disconnect ourselves from this society. Turn off the TV and remove anything from your life that isn't promoting positivity and growth in the Black community.
Definitely, because none of that stuff is productive and it's unnecessary.
Yep.
It's unnecessary. Just doing it because you've been sucked into vanity, and it's not necessary. It's not beneficial at all. So I don't see no point in it.
No, I don't see any point in it when we have a whole lot more important things to be concerned with. I mean, even if you have the money, unless you're doing something positive to promote growth in the Black community, using your money towards a positive surgical treatment that only benefits you and feeds your screwed up ideologies, no, that's just a ridiculous waste of money, especially when you're spending thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Exactly. It's not cheap. It's not cheap, and the majority of us are not even getting $1,000 in a week or two. So definitely prioritize the proper way, and love yourselves. Practice better lifestyles pertaining to what you put in your body.
Yep. Yeah. Make sure that you're eating healthily and taking care of your body as much as possible. Try to stay away from any kind of petrochemical or any kind of processed food product, because that will definitely make your body not look at its best and make you feel not at your best. But I think that'll be all for today. This is Starr Empress Hour, and I thank you all for your participation on our panel. Please be sure to check us out on Google+, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and please be sure to check out our podcast on Podomatic and SoundCloud.